Hi, good day, everyone. Happy Sunday. All right, my name is Karma, as you know. I have a book club, and I hope you are tuned into it. It's called Karma's Book Club. What I'm going to do right now is just a short video on how to build your self esteem. Now, self esteem, as we know, is the way we value ourselves, the way we see ourselves, the way we have confidence in ourselves. A lot of persons we know today are suffering from mental illnesses due to the fact that they have not built their self esteem, right? Now, I was doing some research, so I'm going to come with valid information to back up whatever I'm saying. Now, someone came up with the concept of the 6 pillars to build high self esteem, and his name is Nathaniel Brannon. Now, Nathaniel Brannon was saying that there are 6 pillars to build high self esteem. So, if you don't like the way you are, if you have a problem with the person who God actually designed you to be, which is not actually a good thing, because we are supposed to be happy with who we are. We are wonderfully and fearfully made. We are special in the sight of God, right? Now, he defined self esteem as the disposition to experience oneself as confident, to cope with the basic challenges of life, and as being worthy of happiness. So it's the way you see yourself, the way you view yourself, and how you deal with challenges that life throws at you, right? So the way you see yourself, the way you are, whatever comes at you will ultimately be feel whatever you are as a result of your life's experiences, right? Now, self-esteem, it has 2 parts. The first part is self-efficacy, and the second part is self-respect. Now, self-efficacy is actually you thinking for yourself and directing your own life. The way you rate yourself, who you think you really are, that is self-efficacy. If you don't rate yourself or think that you are of value or that you are efficient and you are relevant, that in itself is a downfall to your self-esteem. Then there's the other side called self-respect, where we build our confidence. If you don't have self-confidence, ultimately you will feel as if you're not worthy of living. You're not worth anything, right? Now, how do we build self-esteem? Remember, how we see ourselves, self is actually the internal you, right? It's not the external person that everyone else sees. The way you view yourself is not the way I might see myself. I know a lot of persons who are beautiful. Like physically, you look on their face and say, oh, she's a beautiful person. She must have everything handed down to her. And then when you do your research, you find out how suicidal that person is. How the person is suffering from some form of addiction, whether it be inflicting injury on themselves, self-harming themselves, drinking alcohol, smoking, it affects them. The way they see themselves affects them. And persons who have suffering from these challenges with their self-esteem, they really, really and truly are affected by every little thing that comes. If someone says one bad thing to them, it spoils their entire day. Now, I'm going to teach you, based on this person's theory, how to build your self-esteem. Now, remember, it's 6 pillars to self-esteem building. The first one is practice living consciously. The second one is practice self-acceptance. Third, practice self-responsibility. The fourth, practice self-assertiveness. The fifth one, living purposefully. And the sixth and last one is personal integrity building. Now, let me explain it in my own words. Now, how do you practice living consciously? What do I mean by that? Consciousness in itself means being aware, your level of awareness. Now, if I am practicing living in this present moment, I am taking my scenarios as they come. When I wake up in the morning and I feel a little bit down, I feel low in the mood, I feel depressed, all of that negative energy comes across. How do I end up living consciously? Now, I am aware that I cannot control everything. Now, if we work with the concept of the Bible, we know that the devil is actually the master or the god of the atmosphere and the energies that pass right in the atmosphere. If we understand that, we should always try and divert our negative energy that is coming at us trying to say positive words, like words of God, right? Like you would say, I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord who made heaven and earth. Or you might say, put on the whole armor of God so you can stand against the wiles of the devil, right? Build yourself. Try and speak to yourself. Live in the conscious moment. Think, practice living consciously, right? The second one is practice self-acceptance. Accept who you are. You don't have to be a size 2 or a size 3 or a size 4. Accept who God made you to be. I'm not saying that you're not supposed to want to take off the weight if you're fat, or that you're not supposed to want to look a little bit more, full if you're so skinny. But what if it's a case where you have a problem, a medical problem, and you don't know how to get the weight off if you don't see a doctor? Now, if you're seeing where your self-image has affected you because of the way you are, what people say to you, you need to start building on your self-acceptance, right? Accept the way you are. You are beautifully and wonderfully made. Now, practice self-responsibility. Take responsibility for whatever comes, right? If you were left, somebody neglected you, don't blame the person 100%. Take some responsibility for yourself, right? That's a way of growing, That's a way of moving past the pain and the hurt. Take a responsibility. Don't blame yourself alone, and don't blame the person alone. Everybody has their own thing in it why one thing happened, right? It's not just a one-man thing. And next thing is practice self-assertiveness. Be assertive. We're not saying about being feisty, Being assertive and being feisty is two different things. I was told that I was feisty all along, and I thought I was actually rude. And then I realized I say no because I mean no. And I say yes because I mean yes. When I say a blunt no, with no little smile or anything, persons who are actually trying to get me in their zone want to divert me to say yes, using this whole psychological trick. Now, when you practice assertiveness, you don't live in regrets, dear. You're actually living to the point where you don't really care much about what people want to say or what to think. You are building on you, my dear. Remember, you are stuck with this body. You are stuck in this shell. And this is the shell that you got from God, so you can go through the transition of life. So practice on being assertive, all right? And nobody's worth your peace of mind, sweetheart. Nobody's worth your peace of mind. Now, practice living purposefully. Remember, the first video I did in my book club, it was talking about purpose, calling, your purpose and your calling, which leads you to your destiny. Now, if you don't have a purpose in life, if your purpose is to tear people down, you're going to achieve that, because you're working towards your purpose. My purpose is living a fulfilling life, right? Doing what I love, doing what I'm passionate about. I know my purpose. So the fact that I found that at age 32, it's kind of a little bit late, right, for some persons, but not for me. No, a lot of persons' lives start at 65, 85. I know 95-year-olds who are doing degrees today. And let me tell you something. I know my purpose and I am enthusiastic. I cannot wait to just jump into it, right? Head on. Now, next, personal integrity. Keep your promises. If you say you're going to do something, don't be a quitter, right? You need to stick to your integrity, man. You have a name, build your character. That's the reason why I named the book. You see, a lot of times persons say that when you're writing a book, the book title normally comes late after. But let me tell you this. When I was going to start writing the book officially, the title came to me before anything else because I was building on myself, I knew that I had a problem because life happened to me, quote unquote, life happened to me, and I did not know how to deal with it, right? And I tried talking to people, and it never worked. But guess what I did? I started building on myself. And let me tell you this, brothers and sisters, because we're all brothers and sisters. When you start to build on yourself, oh God, trust me, and you're not selfish with it, and you're sharing it, just like how I'm trying to do research. When I'm at home, I'm so lost in a lot of work I'm moving from taking care of my 2 kids, taking care of the house. When I do my chores, I no longer complain about what I have to do. I just do what I have to do, step out, start, right? There's a saying that from motion comes emotion. Now, you have to start moving. And then when you start moving, that feeling comes. Now, tell me now. You put on a smile on your face, put a pep in your step, and start working on you. I am telling you, it's a promise. It has worked for me, and it is still working for me. And it's a daily battle. But trust me when I tell you this, when you learn to build on yourself and live to please God himself, and you'll get pleasure from it, right? You stop living in a box, stop living in a vacuum. Step into your purpose, my dear. Know what you love. Step into your passion, your purpose. Fulfill your destiny. Build your self-esteem. And try as best as possible to live in peace with all men. The word of God say, if it is possible, live in peace with all men. Not everyone will love you. You're gonna have to learn to accept or to say no. Know when to say no, know when to say yes. Fix your body language, you know. Don't let let it look as if the world is tearing down on your head. If you can't afford to pay a bill today, you get the chance to live for it tomorrow, right? There's a lady, I was watching this video, and there was a lady who had multiple sclerosis, and all her limbs were not working, right? Because it's a degenerative disorder, right? It affects the nerves, the muscles, and all of that. So all her muscles were actually atrophying, right? Meaning they were at the stage where they were not working, not functioning well. And a speaker went to her, someone went to her and said, hi, how you doing? Like you'd say, for example, you'd say, Rosie, how you doing? And she'd say, I'm doing better than good. And better than most, and sometimes even better than that. Now, this woman cannot even walk. When you have a high self-esteem, trust me, nothing can hold you down because you live inside this head here. You have a mind, you have a beautiful mind, right? And when you learn to accept the way you are and what God has made you to be, you learn to love yourself. Don't let anyone tear you down. They are only tearing themselves down, right? Try and build on you. Perfect the person that God designed you to be. You are God's masterpiece. And remember the serenity prayer. Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. The wisdom to know the difference between what I can change and what I can't change. Right? You need to ask God for strength, courage, and wisdom. Have a blessed day, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you all.